Hello, mother chuggers. What's cracking? We are hammering down big time I-70 east through Kansas right now. Camera may be bouncing a little bit because we're in the bourbon truck, y'all, and we're freaking hitting the road on the road again. Willie had it right. So we're on the road. I thought I'd make a little video for y'all on the road. I like doing these on the road videos, and I think y'all, kind of enjoy them too. But we're on the road. It's about 5 o'clock p.m. right now. Central time. We're in the Central time zone now. I'm in all 4 time zones over a matter of like 2 weeks. So it's ridiculous, and I will explain that here in a minute. I wanted to come on here. I titled this video, "What's It Like to Be a Drifter?" And I'm going to kind of talk about my drifting lifestyle that I've lived for the past, few years. And I thought you guys might be a little interested. We're going to throw in a lip because I'm needing one. Some Copenhagen wintergreen. Sun's going down, so hopefully we haven't got too much sun on my face. But now I'm a professional truck driver, y'all. I wish I was driving an 18-wheeler. That's always been a small dream of mine. I slowed it down a little bit for this video, alright? You guys see me post pictures on Instagram and stuff like that. I'm going like 80, 90 miles an hour, taking pictures, holding the mud jug, putting in a dip at the same time. I can do a billion different things at once, but do not try that at home. I'm an idiot for doing it. You should not. I'm driving a GMC Suburban, and if I hit somebody with this mother trucker, they gonna die. And so would I. So you gotta be very careful. I got my seatbelt on. Wear your seatbelts. And don't be an idiot like me and try to throw a dip in. Oh, and there goes the camera. See, when that happens, you guys probably get scared and think I'm wrecking or something, especially when I was talking about being careful while you drive. So excuse it. I hope the camera's not making too much noise or anything like that when it's going, but we're gonna throw in a dip here. Just throwing a quickie. Without pass somebody. Dip's more important now. So wow. That's one thing about when you're driving, putting in a dip, you're always gonna drop something. You're never really gonna know where the tits it went until you get out of the truck and you got dip. It just falls off you like a gosh dang Niagara Falls or something like that. Let's pass this son of a bitch. Alright, so yeah. This is the Old Glory Mud Jug. It's the Mud Jug of the day. I believe they're sold out now, so don't go to mudjug.com and get yourself an Old Glory, but you can go get yourself one of the brand new Kryptonite Mud Jugs or any other beautiful jugs they got over there on mudjug.com. Frickin' Dodge behind me coming up my rear end. So let's get to the freaking story, y'all. Now, at the end of this video, I'm going to tell you guys kind of where I'm going and what I'm doing and things like that. But you guys have known over the past, ever since I've been making videos, and ever since I pretty much graduated high school, I've traveled around the country quite often and been a lot of places, traveled a lot, and things like that. This dude got some deer antlers in the back of his truck. Oh, it's an old lady. This old lady been deer hunting. Freaking the rut. I heard the rut was a little late this year. I don't even know if it's happening in most states. I know South Texas, I got a buddy down there, said the rut's not coming in full swing yet. Stick to the story. So I've traveled a lot of different places. For instance, right when I graduated high school, I didn't have anything against my family, but I wanted to be on my own. Just kind of the way I was bred. We moved around a lot when I was a kid. So, born in Florida, moved to South Missouri, then to Colorado, and then, I graduated high school in Colorado, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to move down to Florida. I moved to Florida by myself, lived in Florida, and then I got a job up in Alaska. I moved to Alaska for a while, came back down, lived in Colorado for the winter, did a little bit of snow removal business, went back to Florida, then I went to California for a little bit, and then I went back to Missouri, lived in Missouri for a year, and then went back to California here, and somewhere else. The camera's bouncing. Probably looks like we're in an 18-wheeler just bouncing up on the seats, the spring mother truckers, but apologize. So, I've been a lot of places. And it's not even that I have to. It's just that I have a hard time sticking with things. And, sticking with different jobs and, with ideas. I have so many ideas that float in my head on a daily basis. And you guys probably know that. Hey, guys, I'm going to go be a mixed martial arts fighter. True story. Did that for 4 or 5 years. I mean, I trained, all the way since I was a kid in karate, taekwondo, kyokushin, tang soo do, and different things like that, jiu-jitsu. But then I was like, I'm going to be a fighter. I'm going to do this. When I was in high school, quit the wrestling team. Decided I was going to be a mixed martial arts fighter for the rest of my life. And by the time I was 20 years old, I was going to be in the UFC. That was my goal. If I would have stuck with that, I probably would have been in the freaking UFC. I'm not trying to, boast myself here. I'm just saying, when I put my mind to something, I do it. It just happens to not be for a very long time. So then I decided, I'm going to move to Alaska and become a commercial fisherman like them Deadliest Catch boys on TV. Did that for 2 years. Got sick of the sumbitches up there. All the salty sea dog mother truckers. And I was like, you know what? I'm done. I want to pursue another dream I had since I was a kid, and I want to be a professional wrestler. That's when I moved to Missouri for a year and did that. Moved to Missouri after Alaska. Went down there and, got hooked up with Harley Race's wrestling school. If you guys don't know anything about professional wrestling, Harley Race is a legend in the sport of professional wrestling. A lot of guys are like, why the fuck would you do that? That's fake, man. Listen, the dream I had since I was a kid. As you can tell by my personality, I'm a very outgoing type of guy. I like to be the center of attention, and I thought, professional wrestling is me. Oh, son of a tit monkey! Good Lord Almighty! Alright. Growing up and, being the person that I am and stuff, I thought pro wrestling would insinuate my personality very well. Did that for a year and decided, hey, maybe this ain't for me. If I would have stuck with wrestling, because I think I was pretty damn good at it. A lot of people from the wrestling school were like, what the hell, you're leaving? Why? You're really good. You've made a lot of improvements in a year. You're freaking off. I could have had matches. I could have been traveling as a professional wrestler. Is that what I wanted? Apparently not. That's what I wanted at first, but then I kept doing it, and I'm like, all right, maybe I don't want to do it. Maybe I want to do something else. But there's one thing that I've stuck with for the longest time that I didn't even realize until, about 6 months ago. And I had a problem. I kind of looked myself in the mirror, and I had a come to Jesus moment with myself, and I was like, listen, what the hell are you doing with your life? Like, I kept doing all these different things, and I'm like, I didn't realize what I was doing. I kept doing so many different things, and then I was in wrestling school, and man, I miss Alaska. I want to be a fisherman again. Man, I miss fighting. I want to do fighting again. And I have all these different things that I want to do, but I can't stick with them because I have to be comfortable in my own environment. And in those places, I wasn't comfortable. And most of the time, it's the people that I surround myself with and the people that go along for the ride. So if I would have stuck up in Alaska, shoot, I was on a boat that this year, this next coming year, 2014, I would have taken over the boat, and I would have been making a huge captain share. And I would have been making bank, y'all. Shoot, I would have been running my own boat. I wouldn't have owned the boat. My captain from a couple years ago, he would have been the owner, but I would have been running the boat for him. He was an older guy looking to retire. Could have got my captain's license and done that. Like I said, I could have been freaking in the UFC fighting and, traveling around being a mixed martial artist. I could have freaking, if I stuck with pro wrestling, I could, do WWE tryouts and try to become on TV and do different matches and things like that. But it was a lot of things that I'm like, you know what? Like I said, I had a come to Jesus moment with myself. I'm like, what am I doing with my life? And then it rang the bell that what is one thing that I've stuck with the entire time? And that is what I'm doing right now, and that's making videos and online entertainment. Being an entertainer, but online and doing it myself. Shoot, guys, let me give you something my dad always taught me when I was growing up. My dad owns his own construction company out of Colorado. That's kind of why we moved around a lot as a kid, because we moved around a lot because, I lived in probably 10 different houses when I was a kid, because we moved around so many times because he was always striving to look for where the work is. I was born in Florida. Work wasn't there. We moved away. We moved to South Missouri. That was good for about 6-7 years. And we moved to Colorado because that's where it was booming. And, we just, moving around a lot. So my dad always taught me, he owns his own construction company. He always told me, he said, listen, you're going to be a lot more happy in life if you work for yourself. If you're happy with your job, then you're never going to have to work a day in your life. It's a cliche. You guys have probably heard it before. So that always kind of stuck with me. I'm like, all right, I kind of want to work for myself. And shoot, I've been doing that for the past 5-6 years here on YouTube, but I never put enough effort into it to make it a job. And that's why about 6 months ago, maybe a little bit longer than that, when I was in Missouri and I was living in a little apartment doing my wrestling school and stuff like that, I came to the realization that I could make this a job and I could be good at it. A lot of people ask, how do you make YouTube your job, making videos and stuff like that? I can't really explain. You guys probably already know. But, by just doing videos out there, putting videos out, I got 2 different channels. This channel is my second channel, my main channel. I put out, man, the camera's shaking like crazy. I put out comedy songs. So I have my iTunes, I got ringtones up there. So that's another source of income. I've got my merchandise on keepithillbilly.com. I make merchandise, I make t-shirts, hats. I have mud jugs up there, just things like that I sell. And I've started my own little empire that I can live off of now. And that's why I'm always thanking you guys for subscribing and things like that on videos, and I'm very appreciative of everybody who watches and spreads the word about my videos or likes a song and leaves a comment. People who leave comments, that's one of my favorite things, because people are taking the time to leave a comment on a video that I put a lot of effort into. So that's what I came to the realization. I'm like, listen, I've done this. This is one thing that I've stuck with, and this is what I love truly, is I'm working for myself. I'm hustling as much as possible to make sure that I can make a living for myself. Doing things with the company Mud Jug, just trying to build a name and a market for myself that I can entertain people and make a living out of it. So that is what I'm doing. Now that brings me to my next point of being a drifter and things like that. I think that's kind of, full circle, is I was always searching for that thing. I was always searching for, what I'm going to do and things like that. And plus, on top of that, I just have a love for traveling. Not a big flyer. I tell you the truth, I've been on a lot of flights. I mean, hundreds of thousands of miles on freaking flights. I've done a lot of flying in my day. But what I'm doing right now, driving, it's kind of fun. That's why I said, a little dream of mine was always to be an 18-wheeler, trucker or something like that. That was always kind of fun. But, doing things like that, whatever, and it's a fun thing to do. But, so I think, me always striving to find what I'm going to do in life, and that's kind of why I was drifting around a lot. Going to Alaska, maybe I want to be a fisherman. I'm going to go up there for a couple years and see if I'm going to do that for the rest of my life or whatever. And now I finally found, what I'm doing, and I found my niche. It took a while, but, and I'm not saying that I'm done either. I'm not done. I'm going to build this as high as I can go, and I'm going to keep going full speed, full throttle, pedal to the metal, and take it as far as I can, because this is what I truly love, and entertaining you folks out there. That's just it's awesome. And when you guys comment on a picture or a video and saying this was a video, this video was awesome, and you guys share it and stuff like that, that's a big reward for me, especially. So, but as to what I'm doing right now, you guys know I was in California a couple days ago. I was there for 2 weeks. I drove my ass. I moved out of my apartment in Missouri. I drove my ass all the way to California. Helped out the Mojo Boys for the Christmas season. I wish I could have stayed a little bit longer, but things have been happening with my ear. You guys know I have a lot of ear problems, stuff like that. Things have been happening with my ear. I had to get that checked out. Things like that. So, hey, something stinks. I think, some 18-wheeler's brakes or something like that. Woo, baby. But, yeah, so right now I'm in Kansas, like I told you. I left California a couple days ago, and now I am heading to the state, the bluegrass state of Kentucky, ladies and gentlemen, Kentucky. As you guys know, my old lady, Miss Outlaw, lives in Kentucky, and I went down there to visit her. I had never been to Kentucky before. And I went to Kentucky to see her a couple times, and man, I just, not even just because of her, I mean, a big reason is because of her, of course, but the state of Kentucky is gorgeous. And me being someone who can't really settle down and just freaking keeps traveling all over the place, I'm fine with taking a freaking last minute move to Kentucky, and that's what I've been planning on for the past couple months. So that's where I'm going now. Going to Kentucky, fitting to get a place down there. Hopefully looking to get a house to rent or something like that. That'll be nice, and, you know, see what I can do from there and see if I like it there in Kentucky and all that crap. But that's where I'm heading now. A lot of you guys have been asking where am I going and stuff, so Kentucky's where I'm going. Right now it's 5 o'clock. We're still heading through Kansas. We're about the midway point of Kansas coming up here, so I'm going to stay in Missouri tonight. I got a buddy who used to live in the same apartments I did in a little town in Missouri. I'm going to stay there tonight, and then early in the morning leaving for Kentucky. And tomorrow I'm actually looking at a house in Kentucky also, so be in Kentucky tomorrow. But that's where I'm going, Bluegrass State, Kentucky. So I just thought I'd you guys, give you a little, I know this was a long video and I just wanted a long-winded one, but I kind of wanted to get that off my chest. And, you know, I've been doing these things, and a lot of you guys have been in the dark, like, what is this guy doing? He goes all over the place. What's his problem? What does he do? What does he do for a job? You know, so that's what I do, and I'm living the dream right now, y'all, and I'm trying to build it as much as I can. Still struggling, you know, I still struggle. It's not like I'm making millions of dollars. I wish. I'm still struggling, and I'm still striving to get to the point where I want to be. And you guys help me every single day. And again, I want to say thank you for sticking with me over the years and watching the content that I put out, because as a content creator, seeing people that have been watching for years and since the beginning even, is really rewarding. So I appreciate all you mother truckers out there. Well, that's it for me, y'all. I'm gonna get out of here, quit bugging y'all. Got a long drive, probably 6 more hours until I get to Missouri, to where I'm staying tonight. So I hope y'all have a good one. My name is Outlaw, and always remember, no matter what you're doing, to keep it frickin' hillbilly. It ain't just a saying, y'all, it's a frickin' lifestyle. See you on the dip side. Later. Woo!